Good afternoon. Thank you, Frank, and welcome everyone. My name is Diana Brecher, and I'm the Scholar in Residence for the Thrive RU program at Ryerson. And it is a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon.
What a delight. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Wayne. I'm Dr. Deena Shaffer. I'm the coordinator of student transitions and retention, formerly with Student Affairs, now within Student Wellbeing. And what a joy. Thank you for hosting us today. So what frames our presentation around coping during this time of COVID, and all that's uncertain and out of our control given the current context? What can we do to bring more health and hope to our days? That's really what's going to guide us today. We offer the following strategies, not as rigid to-dos. There's nothing prescriptive here. We're not offering them as should be doing this or that. It's not glib advice, but rather to support you in both uplifting and grounding your days to help you thrive, even if a little bit more while at home.
I also want to talk about self-compassion in the context of our lives. And where we need to start is to first be in touch with what do we need? And it's by listening to what we need and want that we can build that self-awareness that's the first step in engaging in self-compassion. The second question is, am I willing to give it to myself? There are a lot of people who think self-compassion is self-indulgence, and I really want to challenge that idea. It's by giving yourself what you need, by being willing to do so, you're really demonstrating to yourself that you are deserving of self-care. And one of the best definitions I've come across around self-compassion is it's about being your own best friend in the moment you need it the most. So this is the invitation here. And so can you be your own best friend? Can you treat yourself with the same kindness and generosity that you treat the person you consider your close friend? And give yourself the very care that you deserve and that you're longing for. That's the most kind of functional, simplest way to think about self-compassion. You make a mistake or you miss something, and instead of beating yourself up on it, be as generous as you would be to your best friend. Give them the space. Give yourself the space to be human, permission to be human. That's what this is really about. And there's a video that I'm going to encourage you to take the time to watch. It's not very long, it's about 5 minutes, but we don't have time today. This is a film that really takes you into thinking through what does it mean to be your own best friend. And can you ask yourself, who wouldn't forgive you for making a mistake? Who wouldn't be as kind to you as you deserve to be? Really, it's about giving yourself that permission to be as supportive to yourself as you deserve.
I often find myself when I'm getting frustrated that I'm not remembering as much as I normally do, or that my capacity isn't as high to accomplish as much in the day. I have to remind myself to ask that question: who wouldn't be stressed out, or who wouldn't be tired with all that we're juggling? And so another way to cope, to thrive at home, is a little bit of soul searching. What could that look like? So the first thing we wanted to remind everyone is the connection between awe and meaningfulness, living a meaningful life or engaging meaningfully with the world. So we're just going to show a brief video here. Let's see if we can get it here.
Right. Right, let's get to that island then. Where? Oh, wow.
So what I find particularly touching um, about that video is that sort of giggle at the end that she has. And I guess I just want to pose the possibility, where is there a sense of wonder for people right now? You know, I think in many ways we're experiencing the best of humanity. You know, small acts like Diana mentioned, the pots and pans that, you know, my whole neighborhood is out at 7:30. We time our day by it in support of healthcare workers. The rainbows that are decorating everybody's windows, and in gratitude to the postal workers, delivery people, and the way that people are sewing masks, donating whatever they have, it's extraordinary. And so that's just one form of awe. But where is there awe and wonder? It can be big, so on the global scale, how touching this is. It can be on the small scale, the beauty of something that is written, or music, or connection. You know, we met with our Thriving in Action students yesterday, and one of them talked about how clear her focus has become around pursuing ultimately what her dream job is. Another student talked about the healing that is happening in her family because out of necessity, the proximity, but it had been a long and fractured, complex history with her family. So where is there awe, and where is there a place of wonder? Again, despite everything else that's happening, and what comes, what's the result? What are the ripple effects from engaging in awe? So the next piece is, oh, sorry, everyone. Let me use this one down here. In addition, you know, we wanted to ask students today in a soul searching suggestion. Here's a structured offering to do it. It's called Ikigai. The translation from the Japanese is a reason for being. And so it can be a guided way to do some of this. Wow, you know, what is shifting for me in terms of priorities? What does this bring into focus what I really want? Or how does this bring up really important questions about what I thought I want? Or how does this clarify or motivate me even more to go after what I'm pursuing? And so you can fill out these circles that get ever narrower. You start with, what are you good at over here? What do you love to do? What the world needs, and what you can be paid for. And then you can begin to see the overlap, you know, perhaps between what you're good at and what you love. That's a place of passion. Between what you love and what the world needs, there might be a mission there. What the world needs and what you can be paid for, that's vocational. And then here, profession. And you just kind of go closer and closer where the overlaps are. And then perhaps this might be some kind of provocation for reflection. And, you know, we're beginning to wind down in our suggestions today. One of the things we wanted to be sure to talk about is this idea of steadiness within the stress. How do we create that for ourselves? So one thing Diana and I love to invite our students and anyone we give a presentation to is, what are your well-being non-negotiables? So another way of asking that is, you know, what do you need to feel healthy? So there are lots of things that other people want from us, and lots of demands on our time, lots of requests to be here or there. And I don't know how many Zoom meetings that we're each invited to, but what do you need? The realities of what it means to be you in your body, in your identities, in your life at this moment. Just as it all is, what do you need to feel well? And so what comes up right away? Is it more movement? Is it, you know, gosh, I'm not just sitting anymore. I'm sitting all day in front of a computer screen. Or is it deeper sleep? Is it more nourishing food? Is it time outdoors at that safe social distance? Is it more virtual time with friends? More quiet time for those of you who are, I know that's something that I'm longing for with the demands of kids at home and work life. So if you can contemplate, each of you right now, what are your top 5 health non-negotiables? How do they make you feel? And then what do you need to decide or do or say or negotiate or boundary set or arrange to ensure that you at least have a chance at many of them? By we both practice meditation, we both do different but parallel, our bodies going in the morning. you know, I admire Diana. You're absolutely impeccable at insisting upon social time and connection.
Deena, you've frozen, so I'll pick up. I find that on a day where I do my 5 healthy non-negotiables, that's a good day. And I have to take charge of it. And what we haven't talked about at all is what's the difference between a weekday and a weekend? And what happens when the structure of a weekday, now, if you're a student and you're studying 7 days a week, maybe you can't tell the difference right now. But for some of us, it is definitely work Monday through Friday, not on the weekend. How do you build in the structure that will really help you have a really healthy day on a very unstructured time? So think about what your top health non-negotiables are and then really build them into your life. These are both links that you're welcome to tap into later of meditations, guided meditations. The Web of Life, I think, is beautifully written before the time of COVID, but it really speaks to how do all the people that you know and don't know that make your life possible seem to be contributing to your life. And in this case, it might be the grocery store clerk, the physicians in the emergency room staff, it's the postal workers or the delivery people who are making our lives possible in a way that would be really, really difficult if we weren't able, if they weren't able to do their jobs. And this is about gratitude and recognition to that full interconnected web of life that's we're all part of. And then the loving kindness meditation is a meditation about sending very clear and positive messages, first to yourself, then to someone you care about, and then to someone that you know, and then to maybe someone you have difficulty with, and then to larger groups of people, maybe your whole community, and then to people you don't know, and then to people on the planet, and then to the planet itself. And it's a guided meditation that's quite beautiful. And we have that as a link on our Thriving in Action resource.
Diana, am I still frozen?
No, you're not still frozen.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Sometimes when Diana freezes, it's beautiful, like mid-smile. I hope I wasn't like, you know.
No, it was just a very quiet.
Okay.
So this is just an opportunity. Can you take this opportunity or take what we've talked about for this hour as an opportunity to explore one or two of these different suggestions we made, make it your own, and then maybe as time goes on, pick up another.
This was really borrowed from a student that we met with yesterday, part of our Thriving in Action community. And she used the word opportunity 3 times. And it was such a beautiful reframing. And it's not that the whole day is an opportunity, and it's certainly not that her life circumstances are easy. But it was a reminder to each one of us, is there something in our day that we can reframe or see potentially as an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to rest, an opportunity, if we remove the commutes that many of us have, an opportunity to pick up something new or a skill or a hobby, a beloved hobby that had been forgotten, opportunity to connect with the people that we live with.
So we just wanted to make you aware of another resource that's available to the full Ryerson community. It's called Thriving in Action, and it's at tia.ryerson.ca. And in it, Deena and I have put together a pretty robust resource. Much of what we've talked about today organized somewhat differently. There's YouTube videos, there's recorded meditations, there's linked to articles, and we encourage you just to play around with it. And all you need is a Ryerson Matrix ID and password to get into it. We want to thank you and wish you well. And any questions that have come up, we're happy to answer.
Okay. Um, we had a couple of questions come up. The first one was, what advice do you have for a new grad who currently is trying to enter the workplace in light of all these COVID-19 scenarios that are going on? From our discussion today in terms of being mindful of yourself and how to look after yourself, how would you comment on that?
I can't tell if it's pausing because it's frozen, Diana, or if I can try. So,
Go for it.
I mean, one of the things that strikes me is the opportunity for practice. You know, it's not ideal. It's not ideal for students who are so eager and keen and ready to join the work world. But in this time where hiring might be slow or delayed, what an opportunity to refine one's resume and cover letter, to upskill. I mean, Diana and I are upskilling by the day on Zoom features and digital pedagogy. So we cannot change what's happening, but what can be the source of focus and hopefulness? Something eventually will shift in all of this. And so can you stand out and be ready? So the focus might shift then to, how do I keep my stress lower? How do I keep my stamina going? How do I keep my energy and my passion for what I was ready to start in 3 weeks, but might have to be delayed by a few months? And I know that folks at Career Center are still doing sessions. I know there's all kinds of resources to really hone the applications that, even if they're on hold right now, they won't always be.
Thank you for that.
I would just add that there's certain things that still can be done at home. For example, networking, doing informational interviews, thinking about really polishing your CV or your resume. Those are things that usually are so rushed, and we have more time now. So could that be an opportunity to really polish that gem?
Okay, I have one last question, and I think this is certainly very relevant for those of us who have now migrated to how many Zoom meetings in a day, is how to stay focused when looking at a screen for long periods of time to complete work.
Yeah, I mean, that really feels like the whole heart of this presentation, is to use the body and use the breath and punctuate the day with exercise. And that might mean showing up 10 minutes late, or leaving one Zoom meeting 5 minutes early and arriving 5 minutes next, so that you can climb up the stairs, a few times, or you can go outside and, really just kind of do a couple jumping jacks or joint rolls. Is using what you do have in between. It doesn't have to be huge, long breaks. If we think about, we're pretty focused for 20 or 30 minutes, and then we need a break. So can you begin to structure the day? And it really might mean communicating or negotiating some of those online demands. If you're part of a 3-hour online course right now, if it serves your focus in the long run, do you just step away for 5 minutes so that you can move a little bit, turn your screen off, listen, but begin to do some stretches? But I'm a big believer, and the research really indicates, to use the body as a way to energize, and the breath as a way to energize. And of course, really the whole presentation is about that: sleep, connection, outdoor time, visualization, meditation, energizing our day with other passions or new pursuits. So that's really at the heart here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you both, to Diana and to Deena, for your thoughtfulness around this topic for today, and for making yourselves available to us, and to help us understand structures and ways for us to be able to build resilience while thriving at home. And it's, while we're trying to be resilient in these challenging times, this webinar series wouldn't have happened on its own. And for that, I'm so grateful and thankful to my colleagues in the Business Career Hub for their unrelenting support, to the MBA program, and particularly Nicoletta for the capability to be able to broadcast this webinar series. And of course, our marketing communications group have done a great job, and all of their guidance for making this sessions known to such a broad community. but it wouldn't happen with all the participants, right? So thank you for your interest in this. And just a reminder that our second part of the series will start on Tuesday next week on April the 7th at 1 o'clock. And the title there will be Mindfulness at Home with Dr. Ellen Choi. So the links for today's will be posted. Give us an hour or so once we download the broadcast from the cloud, and we'll be posting those on both the Executive Education website, XED at Ryerson, and the Business Career Hub websites as well. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.